Good morning, everyone. Shannon here with Fit for Profit. Happy Thursday. So, here at Fit for Profit, we help wellness business owners to keep more of the money that you create in your business so that you can focus more on the heroic work you do in the world. And I am so happy to be here with you on this Thursday morning. So, if you're here live, give me a hi in the comments so that I know that people are watching. And if you happen to be catching this on a replay, you can do a hashtag replay too. It's always nice to know. Who gets to see this with the world of Facebook that we're in. So, today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about bookkeeping. So, I know we focus a lot here on Profit First, but we were actually bookkeepers before we even knew about Profit First, before Profit First was even a book and a thing. So, I like to go back to my roots every once in a while and talk about bookkeeping because it is also near and dear to my heart. So, a lot of times people come to us with out of date accounting records and they just haven't been kept up to date for a lot of different reasons. And so, today I wanted to talk about why it's important to have what we call a QuickBooks refresh or optimization, or sometimes people call them cleaning up their books. So I'm just curious before we get started, who is doing their own bookkeeping and who has somebody hired to do their bookkeeping already? So if you're still doing your own bookkeeping, drop me a one in the comments. Just out of curiosity for the most part. It's not that you can't do your own bookkeeping. You absolutely can, especially if it's set up well and you have some really good training. But I would say that at some point, most business owners get to the point where they neglect it because they're busy doing other things. And that's when you run into some of these problems that I'm going to talk to you about today. So, first, I wanted to talk to you about 3 signs that you may need a QuickBooks refresh or optimization, as we call it. So, the first one is if your bank accounts have not been reconciled in a while. So, that is one of those monthly tasks that we believe should be done every month in your QuickBooks file. So if you go to reconcile your bank accounts and it hasn't been done in 2 months or 12 or 24, that is definitely a sign that you need a QuickBooks refresh or optimization. The reconciliation is really important because it's basically the only way to know that your QuickBooks file isn't missing any revenue or any expenses, which you don't want to be missing either of those. It's also the only way to know that you haven't duplicated any revenue or expenses. So, missing expenses is not good for taxes. Duplicating revenue is not good for taxes. And none of those options are good for making good business decisions. So, that's why a reconciliation is really important. And one of the things that we often see when people come to us, their books haven't been reconciled in quite a while. Another sign that you may need an optimization is if your bank has not been connected to your QuickBooks file for a significant period of time. Significant meaning like more than a month, because it means that you probably have a lot of transactions that haven't been entered into your bank account yet. And that can take some time to get those all entered and get it done well and correctly. So, again, this is what people just start to put off when they get behind, then it just starts to feel like more and more work every single day. And so they just avoid it. So, this is where a refresh is really important to get you caught back up and able to look at financial statements again. And then the third sign that you may need an optimization is if you look at your financial statements and the list of expense categories or revenue categories or any categories on any financial statement doesn't make sense to you. So in accountant speak, we call that your chart of accounts. I like to call that the list of options that you have available to you when you're classifying your transactions, or what you see on your P&L or your income statement, your balance sheet, the labels that are assigned to the money in those places. If that doesn't make sense to you, or it doesn't reflect your business, then I believe you need a QuickBooks optimization or refresh. Those reports are yours. They should be helping you to make the best decisions in your business. So if they don't make sense to you, let's give them labels that do make sense to you and break them into categories that do make sense to you. A lot of times we see what we call straight out of the box labels, accounts, because people go through the QuickBooks setup on their own very quickly and just say, yeah, use that. And then they try to make their business fit into that, which can work, but it's not optimal for your business. or you've let a tax preparer set up your bank accounts, or not your bank accounts, your chart of accounts, and tell you what you need to be using because they want it to be easy for your tax return, which there's nothing wrong with that either. But again, it doesn't help you make business decisions throughout the year. And so there's a way to do both. And that's what I would like to show you on an optimization. So those are signs that you need an optimization. I also wanted to talk about 3 reasons, benefits to you after you have an optimization done. So we just talked about your financial statements not making sense to you. So after you have an optimization, they will make sense to you. That will be huge when you're going to make business decisions. It's also important, I believe, to have comparable information. So when I'm looking at an income statement for any business, I don't want to look at just one set of information. I want to look at this year compared to last year, or last month compared to the month before that, or a month last year. Excuse me. Because it's in the comparison that I can tell what has happened throughout the period of the course of the business. You know, did your revenue go up? Did it go down? Did your expenses go up? Did it go down? If I'm just looking at one, I can't really tell that. And so it's really hard to get that information if all you're doing is looking at bank statements, because bank statements aren't categorized and you may miss something in that. And you're seeing large, like you may look at your revenue, okay? You might be able to tell if it went up or down from a bank statement, but then you're looking at all of your expenses together. Well, I want to look at your marketing expenses and your rent expenses and things like that. So having financial statements that are comparable and make sense for your business is a huge benefit after you've set up QuickBooks to be optimal for your business. And then, like I said, it allows you also to have an easier time preparing your taxes if you can have all of those categories already created in your QuickBooks file and then just transfer that to a tax return. And like I said, there are ways that we can set up a report that could actually mirror your tax return, so you wouldn't have to figure out like, where does this expense go on my tax return? So that's kind of cool, and can be done through QuickBooks optimization, sorry. And then finally, it allows people like us who want to help you implement Profit First to also have a really good idea of what's been going on in your business. So a lot of times we have to do a QuickBooks optimization before we can do a Profit First assessment, because of some of those things that I talked about as signs that you need a QuickBooks optimization. If your bank accounts haven't been reconciled and all of your transactions aren't recorded, it's really hard for us to help you implement Profit First. So there's definite benefits to you as the business owner, as far as just the reports. And then there's benefits to you in that you can get professional help and we can interpret and read your financial statements for you, even just learn and teach you how to read your financial statements. So we want to help it make sense to you is really what it comes down to. And then, like I said, managing your chart of accounts, those are yours, and you should definitely own those and manage them on your own and not let somebody else tell you how to do it within reason. I would also say that your QuickBooks optimization normally shouldn't be DIY'd. A lot of times the reason it gets into the condition it's in is because, like I said at the beginning, you feel overwhelmed with the upkeep of it. And so most of the time it just continues to get worse and worse and worse when somebody says they're going to DIY it. We see it all the time. People say, I'm going to take care of it rather than paying us to do it. And what happens is 3 months later, they finally come back to us and they're like, you're right, I can't take care of it. And now we've got another 3 months of work left to do. So just putting that out there for you. Now is a really good time if you are behind at all. Most people got caught up in order to prepare their 2020 taxes. So at this point, you may be only 3 months behind because we're doing April right now still. So maybe you're only 3 months behind. It's only a quarter of a year. That's really not too much to get caught up. So I would just kind of I don't want to say beg, but implore or make it really known how important it is to get those caught up and keep up with them as well. So I'm just curious, do you like the way your income statement looks when you read it in the comments? You can give me a hell yes if you do like it, or if you think it could be improved. Again, you can just put a 2 in the comments. I honestly believe there's always room for improvement. I'm kind of always tweaking my chart of accounts, and I drive my own bookkeeper a little bit crazy with that. But I try to only do it once a year. So again, for comparable comparison's sake. So like I said, there's 3 definite reasons that or signs that you need an optimization if your financial statements don't make sense to you, your accounts haven't been reconciled in a while, or you have a lot of transactions that need to be entered. And then there are definitely more than 3 benefits, but the fact that you have good records for tax preparing, you have good records for making business decisions, and then you have good records to take to a professional to get professional help when you need it. So I hope this was super helpful today. Dean will be here next Thursday. If you have any questions, specific questions that you'd like him to cover, feel free to leave that in the comments. And then I also put a link in the description for this video. If you want to know more about what it is to have us do a QuickBooks optimization for you, go ahead and book a call with one of our coaches, and we would be happy to tell you all about that. So I hope you all have a great Thursday and a great Memorial Day weekend. Get an extra day of rest in there, and we will see you next week.